Hey y'all, it's your girl Jamaica coming back to you again with another teacher's resource. So, um, in the last couple of videos, I kind of hinted to some of my lesson plans and talked about some of the things that I was doing and not doing. And of course, they adjust and they change as I feel like it. Sometimes I include stuff that sorry, y'all gotta put this down. Sometimes I include stuff I include everything so it could be very detailed. Sometimes I do not. Sometimes I'm just doing enough. Okay. And I get it because by the middle of the school year, the end of the school year, sometimes as a teacher, you just get tired. Okay. That's it. You just get tired. And it's okay. But what I've learned is if you front load it, just front load as much as possible. You teach the kids how to be a little bit more independent. Towards the end of the year, it will be a little bit more of a breeze. I'm not going to say it's going to be easy. Okay. It's simple, yet it is not easy, but it will be a little bit more of a breeze. So some of the things that I showed you guys previously were my lesson plans, what my stuff looked like online, and then how I was building up my SAO folder. And I wanted to show you a couple things. Okay. All right, let's start here. So I'm going to do some stuff from November, December, which is still a part of, which is ending up, I think it's ending the first semester, going into, ending the first quarter, going into second quarter, but we're still in the first semester. Um, I have to remember that. The way I remember is that there's 4 quarters and a dollar, so it's 4 quarters every year, 2 semesters. It's a good one, just in case you ever need anything. 4 quarters and a dollar, so it's 4 quarters. And I tell the kids too, you got to earn 25 cents every quarter. And if you don't earn your 25 cent, then you probably won't pass. And I equate every grade level, every grade as a 5 cent. Just a little FYI for you. So if students are asking you, well, how do I do this? What does this mean? Whatever else, you can say a F is a 5, a D is 10, C is 15, a B is 20, and an A is 25. So you got 25 cents. You need to earn your whole 25 cents each quarter. If not, by the end, you're gonna calculate it out as much as possible to see whether or not you get at least 75% or more. Um, that's usually how I explain it. I don't know if that's easier for you or not. If y'all understand, I usually draw stuff on the board and stuff too, but we're not doing that today. All right. But if y'all interested, just let me know because it's something that I can do later. All right, going into these lesson plans, I just want to show you guys a couple of things. So let me see here. All right. So in this particular lesson plan, I'm in November 14th. This was last year. And on here, I have my standards. I'm gonna probably redo this to you guys where I'm on the actual computer. You can see stuff a little bit clearer. But I have my standards, right? I have R 1.4, R 2.3. Remember, I told you when you're in the beginning of the year, you don't want to overburden your students with too many standards because you want to give yourself the opportunity to really go through and manipulate as much as possible in your standards. You want to go through and be as detailed as possible because you're front loading it. And once you've exposed them to it, you've given them the resources, whatever it is, after that point, you're just reminding them you've already learned this, you've already done this, you know this. Remember when you connect it, keep connecting these standards back to the stories or back to the activities so that they can understand, yeah, I do know this, I do have it. Especially for your lower learners and show them that they've been getting it. You want to build that confidence in so that they can start achieving as we go along, right? Start to make the scores and have them. make that investment with you as well, stating what they want, and influence them to want to achieve A's and to do the work and to understand that it takes work and dedication to get those grades. It's just not given. Um, just a little FYI. So within this, I showed you guys the I do, we do structure, right? So the I do, we went over the road not taken on Monday. The we do, we answered questions 1 through 3 on page 278. And then the you do, the kids by themselves answers questions 1 through 4 on page 283. So again, which I'm glad I did, here's the paperwork, right? So the road not taken is a really lovely poem. I actually do thoroughly enjoy it. It's one of my favorites. So the road not taken, and this is, when you get into poetry, it shouldn't be too long. So this is one of those pages with the road not taken. And the question again was on page 278, which is on the back of this. And they answered questions 1, 2, and 3. So talking about, and you can always pause the video if you want to see something and be specific. So it says, what evidence in the text of the poem shows you that the speaker is uncertain about which road to choose? Cite evidence, which of course, like I told you guys with language arts, those EE standards, you're going to see those over and over and over again. So EE 1.1 was citing textual evidence, 1.2, you're going to see it over and over and over again. I thought I might have my book somewhere around here, but oh well, we're not going to look too hard. But I'll just pull it up online. Uh, for the benchmark. That's how you do it. All right, you guys. So you can always just Google it, just like I just did. And when you go in, it's one of the first pages after your stuff. So yeah. So EE 1.1 is citing textual evidence. 2.1 reading and comprehending grade level, text with proficiency. That's the goal as always. Um, and then making inferences, 3.1, making inferences to support comprehension. Those three things are always, if you don't have nothing else up, you don't know what else to put up on your boards or what to talk about, you can always throw those up there. Just FYI. So pretty much all three of those are in number 1. But again, our spotlight benchmark was 1.4, which is analyze structure, sound, imagery, and figurative language in the poem. That was one of them. So we got the poem. Then you look at question number 2. Question 2 says, what do lines 16 through 20 tell you about how the speaker imagines his future? Use evidence to support your text. And then question 3, how does the speaker feel about the road he didn't take? So all of those, they have to go in and look at the structure of the poem, look at what is happening, the imagery that's provided into the poem. They'll state whatever it may be, looking at any other figurative language. And I always recommend that you tell the students to look over here at the sample annotations, because the sample annotations also address some of the answers as well. And this is how you can see whether or not they're really paying attention, doing what they need to, all that good stuff. Once they have done that, and I would probably give them about 10 minutes, maybe. It depends on how quickly your students may maneuver through the information, the context. But if that's a we do, I would probably give them some time in a group setting to go through it. Again, 10, maybe 15 minutes. 15 minutes is really pulling it for me. Um, because I do want to use some of that time. You may block off 15 minutes total, give them 10 to do it, maybe use the other 5 to kind of go over it, have them read out some of their answers, you know, see where they are. But through the 10 minutes as well, you're walking around, you're facilitating, you're pinpointing out certain things with the students, helping to guide their conversations. And then, of course, that's about, again, I said that's about 10 to 15 minutes, let's say 20 minutes max. You already had your bell work and everything to get class set up. You explaining anything, that's going to be about 10 minutes, give or take. So at this point, you're already 35, 40 minutes into the class period, leaving them with probably another 10 minutes or so, 10 to 15 minutes to do the second piece, which was answer the questions 1 through 4 on page 283. And so there's other things in between there as well. But on page 280, oh, this said 283. Maybe, I don't know what I had going on. Oh no. I don't see 283 on my over here. But who knows? You could have done 282. That starts it. And these are 3 questions as well, 3 multiple choice questions. And that might have been what I was trying to do. Um, oh, so I also had, yeah, I had 280 and 282. So sorry, y'all. Excuse me. Clarifying myself. This was last year. So right here as well. So after we did this together, you could either even use these, complete 280 and 282 over in the individual section. It's just depending again on what the students could do. These were 280 and 282. This is 280. So remember, I told you guys there's different facets of checking information. So of course, here we go. They show the different types of figurative language. I'm trying to figure out how to do this. Boom. So the different types of figurative language that's there, and then all they're doing is using this, and they're filling in the blank to show which is which can be something quick that you can go over with your students. If you're looking at your standard being 1.4, maybe this is something that you would do with your students. And this other multiple choice, you could do this together as a unit, release them to do this by themselves. This could be what you use, because it's just 3 questions real quick, what you use for your formative assessment. Usually what I like to do is when I'm walking around with the students, right beside their names, I have a documentation with their names on it. I just write down the answers, whatever answers they put. Um, Unless you just know, okay, is BAD is the answers, and you just say, okay, BAD. If they got it all, check, 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 check. But I usually like to write down the actual answers that they wrote out, and then go through so that later I can really analyze and see what they did know, what they didn't know, why they chose this. And I usually ask those questions too when we have that conversation with class. And then of course the last would be the you do. If there was additional time, because again, it's you knowing what your kids can and can't do in the amount of time that's provided. I'm always going to recommend that you pack your lesson plans. I mean, although this don't look like a whole lot, because it's really not, but you pack it in as though they're going to be able to do it, but just know this is the minimum. So I do. Oh, it's backwards still. So my I do and the we do, I definitely know we're gonna get to. The you do, they still are doing the you do, quote unquote, um, at some point throughout the day, but it's usually I'll do it. Okay, you guys have 5 minutes to answer these questions. I walk around, I facilitate, I look at it, I might pose a question, I might say, look at this again. Um, And then I'll give them an additional 5 minutes or so and tell them, hey, talk your answers over with your shoulder partners. Person with the long hair goes first, or short hair, whatever it is. Why did you choose the answers that you chose? Write it out, explain. And of course, that's giving them practice as well. When we get to those short answer responses or long answer responses, because they're already explaining why they chose the multiple choice questions, they'll become better with explaining later in those facets as well. So that's part of this. And of course, that was a short poem. So as you can see, the next day we had Slam Dunk Hook. Then we did Curtain Call, which was like a little short story. The student had their handouts that they needed to complete. And in this particular one, we had the Great American Teaching, which was where we had volunteers come out and they speak to the students about different career sources, career choices. So I did have a activity that's in the you do area. Because if it lasts all day, then great. If not, this was the work that we were going to be doing either way for that day. And of course, on Fridays, usually I never really put too much on a Friday. I just made that as a built-in makeup, making up any work, getting everything done. Of course, like I told you guys, by November they also had online work, and the online work, you've already read the story. All you're doing is you're getting questions that are similar. Hold on, you guys, let me put this in. But yeah, you're getting questions that are similar to the ones that you had in the book. Um, it may just be asked a different way. But then, like on here, this was the work that was due online for the week. So they had the first read, they had, the skill with poetry, which just taught them, how to look at poems a little bit different, interpreting figurative language. Of course, they already had an assessment there, but say, for instance, they didn't pass that. Then when they went on to the online work, it talked about different figurative language in the poems that they were reading. Then the closed read for a road not taken. And again, the questions really do just mimic each other. Um, Let me give you one other example. So in Slam Dunk Hook, for example, here, right? It says, what do lines 1 through 17 of the poem describe? Who appears in these lines? Provide evidence, X, Y, and Z. Number 2, what troubling event happens to Sonny Boy? How does he react? Use examples. What words or phrases suggest the power and beauty of the basketball game? On the back side, see, these are the basic first think questions, right? Then on the back side, it goes over different types of figurative language that could be found within the text. The kids just have to put two and two together. So once they're looking at it, the multiple choice questions that are here are going to assist. So questions 1 through 17 was addressed in question 1 on the think side. Over here it says 17 through 22, line 17 through 22. And they're going to pick up some multiple choice questions. And again, we already showed you on this other page what it talks about, what an onomatopoeia is, how you can see it. They're just choosing the line to match with it. Right here, how does the phrase muscles were a bright motor affect the meaning of the poem? Over here, of course, they talked about phrases that suggest the power and beauty of the game. That was question number 3. Well, this question helps with that, the power and beauty. Power being muscles, muscles like a bright motor. Muscle cars look beautiful, but they're fast, whatever else. And you can talk to your kids about those things. Line 31 is an example of, and so it gives you the different options, a rhyme, the structure, repetition. And again, if they went back over here, they didn't remember what these were. It says it. What is repetition? What is symbol? So it's here I mean, it's giving them everything they need to be successful. They just have to use it. And then same thing goes here on the back side. So on the back side of here, it talks more about different types of figurative language as well. And then your questions, your 2 questions on the next page allows you to use those examples, or allows you to pick out the examples of the explanations that were provided, the definitions that were provided. And then the last set of questions, let me see, boom, boom. What image or sound comes to mind when reading the poem? How does this contribute to the meaning of the poem? Site specific. So here you just see your questions are getting a little bit more detailed, but we've already built you up with these simplistic questions, the multiple choice questions, so that you're really understanding the poem or the text that's at hand. And then it gets you all the way down to that bottom piece where you're going to be doing a long answer response. And so with the long answer response, of course, as I stated, DOK 4 is the last one. So you're really demonstrating, or the students are really demonstrating that knowledge. Is building them up, right? So I told you guys I was talking about this DOK levels. Let's see. So a DOK level 1 is just recall and production. So recalling, like, what did the text say about XYZ, right? 2 is showing skills and concepts. So the multiple choice questions that we just saw were a little bit more on that skills and concepts, the concept of what a repetition is. They show you the definition. Now choose the line that goes with it. Strategic thinking. So your questions here, when you get into the skill focus, is a lot of your strategic thinking. That's a DOK level 3. But then here at the very bottom with the writing where they're producing extended thinking, that is your level 4. So if you're utilizing everything here, you're hitting the level 1, 2, and 3 with almost all of your questions. But then when you get into those long form answers, it's going to be your level 4 for the most part. All right, let's see. Is there anything else that I wanted to go over with you guys? So I told you, oh, as well, I told you to use the online resources. Please make sure you do that because it's going to extend to those, that depth of knowledge and understanding not only the text, but the skills that's at hand for your students. But like I say, this is what I put online on Schoology so that they can go over, because they start off in ClassLink in Polk County anyway. They start off in ClassLink. ClassLink has all the links that they need to be successful for all of their classes. They go to Schoology, look at their particular teacher, and see what it is that they're requiring for them to do, almost like an agenda, online agenda. And then they go into whatever resources is needed. So for us, it was McGraw-Hill. And then, of course, I can't show y'all all of this, but this is my students' work. Yeah. But I did told y'all I could be lazy too. I could be a lazy teacher too from time to time. Um, so what also happened? Oh, don't forget to put your data in there as well. But what also happened is, this is another example. Get it how you live. So the learning targets is not filled out, but of course we're going back to the 1.1, 1.2. So at this point, they should know these things, the students. But it was listed on the board along with other standards. Of course, here in this case, I looked at the article, and then I posed the standard with the particular questions from out of the article. So I didn't become real lazy. I just had a different focus in this go round. So I would see which questions actually went with the standards that I was looking for and looking to check. And again, you're checking, you're doing a formative assessment almost every day at this point, at that point. And it's up to each one. And of course, we started an extended writing project. That's where they struggled. I'm not gonna lie to you. But what I can say, if you I'm gonna do a video about narrative writing. If you have not done narrative writing with your students, do that. That is going to assist you greatly. And I'm gonna go all over that later. Um, and of course, here's my data. I did data from, you know, the success and not successful. This was for writing, extended writing. But I said students were given quotations from writing examples. They were to match each quote to the proper area of an outline. Students had to identify if the quote was an introduction statement, a central claim, and the place, the reasons in logical order. Students did not understand how to identify key signal words that indicated placement and order of reasoning based on the claim or thesis statement. I reviewed the answers with the students, illustrated how the thesis statement explains the order of each reason, and introduced counterclaims and rebuttals. I will continue to allow students to self-explore the writing process to allow for greater understanding. If y'all have any questions on that, just let me know. I'll do a video on writing. Probably a couple of videos actually. But also, when you start to utilize the online system, you're able to come up with this is for one grade, but you have bar graphs. And down here it shows you, is it clear? Not really. But it shows you the standard and it shows you the percentile of who's being successful in what standards. Um, some of them had, it was really a BC average in this particular class. And then in the other class, it was low, very low. So you have that as an example of data that you can pull and collect for yourself. And then of course, if you learn how to utilize the systems properly, then you also have the ability, hold on y'all, because I got to cover my churn names. My kids, these are my kids. But you also have the ability to show it based off of each student. So that was a class view, but this is based off of each student and the scores that they made based off of the activities that they did or based off the standards that the activity provided. And the thing about it is that you'll see that some students don't complete, all of their work. So again, that's just you, honey, how you want to deal with it. Look, it's an interesting task. But same thing. And I told you guys I had first and second period. So you can see that there are blanks in here as well. That means students did not do the work at all. So just like right in here, you see that those students did not complete any tasks. And so there's only so much that you can do as a teacher as far as holding students accountable, getting them to do the work, whatever else. But for those who actually did it, thinking long game, remember, think big picture. As much as it seems that it's a lot, because that's what I heard a lot. As much as it seems there's a lot of missing pieces that we have to make sure that we touch on and address because we're trying to close in specific learning gaps. And the only way to close it out is to make sure that they're exposed to it consistently. Repetition is the mother of learning. So I don't know who quoted that, anonymous, I don't remember. But just know, okay, do it. The more you do it, the better it'll get. I think that's it. Some of this stuff I'm gonna go over with you guys. I'll probably do it underneath writing. We'll see as we go along. But I think that's it for today. Hopefully y'all got a good understanding of what to provide in your SAO folders, of how You can utilize your online resources right along with the books, the classroom resources, and how the classroom resources can cover all your DOKs, making sure that you are data driven in your classroom, making sure that you provide um activities that are supported by the standard in your big picture, keeping your big picture in mind as you are breaking it down to the kids and they're being exposed to these new things. So hopefully I've addressed everything with that. Again, make sure you guys are subscribing to the channel. I'm trying to get these channels, get the subscription up, baby. And I'm want to get to 500 and then 1,000 and then 5,000. We got to take baby steps. But right now, you know, share this out, you guys. I need about 300 more people to subscribe to the channel, and I greatly appreciate that. Also, as I stated previously, if you guys have any comments, concerns, please write down in the chat any questions that you have that I can assist you with, and I'll try my best to do that. And yeah, like, share it out. That's it. All right. So I hope that you guys have a great day, and I love y'all. Bye.